Graduates, all go on. I see you all. I see you all. Let's just give some time for everybody to come in the classroom. All right. All right. Okay. So let us hail up first of all the graduates in the class. Big up yourself, Sharon Walker, you're present. Andreen, Antoinette, Norma, what's up, sis? How you doing? Rich Venice, what's up, first in line? I think somebody beat you. Noriax, good morning. Good morning wherever you are. It's a good evening for me. It's after 5 here in the UK. Kathleen, big up yourself. Pam, big up yourself. Linda G, what's up? And Boo O'Grey Reality. Roll call, present. I like that. Barbara, what's up? Elaine Cooper, Drea Prayer Warrior. Steph B, Guyanese number 2. Good afternoon, girls. So nice. Big up yourself, Marentia. Let me pin your comments. Yes, indeed. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you are new. Nadine, big up yourself. Vanessa, Mememba, Sanika, Leonie, Drea 1969, Kina, Rosemary, Paulette, Andrea, what's up? Love the purple hearts. You don't know, we are purple warriors over here. Open topics, what's up? Social spectator, Rasta lifestyle, Phyllis Barrett, Leonie Barrett, Fat and Fabulous. And as Norma says, please make sure you like up the live as soon as you come on. And also, please refrain from putting any names in the comments. Failure to do so, you will be timed out. I'm going to just pin this and replace the pin message because that's very important. And of course, repeat offenders will be muted. You understand? Yeah. Fat and Fabulous, big up yourself. Juju, what's up? Ting-a-ling-a-ling, school bell a ring to Rastaja. After all, Olivine, big up yourself. Zenergy, my member, big up. Ingrid, Steph B. You've been waiting for me? Yeah, man. You know, so we have to secure the bag first before we come on social media. Important things have to be done first, you know. Andrea, big up yourself. Don, what's up? My Renshaw, welcome one, welcome all to HTK's Live. Like, share, and subscribe as you enter the classroom. That is it. Big up yourself. Inca, what's up, my member? How are you? All right. Yvette, what's up? Debbie, the 3-leaf clover. Herlexia, Island Girl 48. I'm loving the new names. Honey Golden, what's up? Pi Gordon. All right, Donella, Andrea, big up yourself. So I'm sure by now most people have seen the public arrest record that was released by another YouTuber, a fellow YouTuber. I saw the channel, it was brought to my attention. Thank you, Legendary, for that. But you know how HDK is there. I never run out immediately. I always make sure that I get my facts straight, my ducks in a row before I come out. And as much as no doubt the YouTuber is reputable, I don't know that YouTuber. I am not a subscriber. It's the first I've seen that channel. So the kind of person I am is that before I run with something that somebody else has presented, I make sure I do my own investigations and I secure the documents that are necessary myself before I discuss it. So I'm pleased to say that the document is real. I can confirm that, double confirm it. It is real. I made a public records access request from the police department that detained CMR and received the physical document myself. Okay. So I know that some people were saying, oh, it's fake, it's not real, it's not true. I can assure you that that YouTuber has done due diligence and has presented you with the correct documents. Okay. And just to verify that, I am going to share the document with you. We're going to go through it ourselves, graduates. It is a very disheartening situation. Very, very disheartening situation. But there are certain things I'm going to discuss after going through the obvious evidence. There'll be other things that we're going to discuss on this live because there's more to the picture than what I think most people are just picking up on. Everybody's very quick to run out and crucify CMR, and that's understandable. You see, when it comes to a child, the natural instinct of the public is to protect and to condemn anyone who dares to, interfere with a vulnerable minor, right? So you can understand the emotions that are involved in this. Plus, given the track record of the individual, it is a likely scenario that he is going to be condemned in the public court of opinion. Remember, you are innocent until proven guilty. But we're going to go through it. And you're going to see why it is that I'm treading cautiously on coming down on him 100%. Bear with me. Now, obviously, as an educator, one of the things that we are trained to do is to safeguard, and automatically we are on the side of the child. But it does not negate the fact that there are many circumstances out there where accusations have been placed on adults by children that have fallen through as not true. As to whether or not this is such a case, let's go through the documents and we can arrive at our own opinion, but our opinion does not underscore the facts, nor does it negate that child's experience, which will be proven in the court of law. Okay? All right, so let me share this. Give me a thumbs up when you can see my documents. Thumbs up when we can all see my page. Yeah, and remember, yes, thank you very much for the reminder, Gals and Nice. Please do not put any names in the comments, all right? So let me know if you can see the document, please, with a thumbs up in the comments. Thank you. All right, and you can see from the mere fact that there is no watermark on here. This was not taken from the blogger's page. This is the actual electronic copy of the arrest report. Okay. So can we all see it? Give me a thumbs up now, guys. Let me know now. Just sit down there quiet. So give me a thumbs up. Can you see it? Because what I can see is not necessarily what you can see. So I just need to know. Can you see the documents? Lovely. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I had to revisit this. Oh, we've already had one person hidden. I wonder why that is. I never ever see what a person they say. You understand? I never even see what a person they say. All right. Why my admin them no ramping or them move fast, you know. Mama tell us them quick like lightning. Me never even get to see the person just gone with the wind. All right. Okay, so as you can see here, I'll just scroll all the way up to the top. Directly from the City of Apopka, Florida Police Department. It's a public arrest record, so this is a public document, right? I'll scroll in as much as I can so you can get a good visual. And oh, politics. Oh, them that talk about Trump. All right. So, let's scroll down rather. It identifies exactly what crime has been committed, because everything is coded accordingly. So it says here that the crime that has been committed, or the reason for the charge, is identifying information of victims of SO offenses and of child abuse. Okay, so that's the reason for the arrest. As you can see here, this is the arrest report. It's all, headlines. It's got the agency report number, the date of the arrest, which is the 2nd of November. He was arrested at 9:24. All of that's like, just basically coding the document to make sure everything is properly filed, right? So there's his full name. That's not hidden. Okay, it has a description of what the person looks like. So let's go into it. Okay, let's go into it. All right. So obviously the charge description is there, which is the lewd and lascivious behavior, and the M of a victim between the ages of 12 and 16, with the offender being older than the age of 18 years old. Okay. It's got the date here of when the arrest took place. At the time, there was no bond. We know that that has subsequently changed. We did see the clip from the judge that shows that that changed. Okay. All right. So we're going to read this together. So on the 2nd of November, 2024, Officer Kashita with the Apopka Police Department was notified of this case by Detective Shah. I responded to, and obviously we have the redacted information. That's about protecting the identity of those who are not being arrested. So I responded to so-and-so in Apopka. Upon arrival, I assisted Detective Shah interviewing Mr. Carter. I read Kushane his Miranda warnings off of my department, issued Miranda card prior to any questioning, to which he stated he understood and was willing to answer any questions. Detective Shah's probable cause is as follows. On November 1st, 2024, at 1:17 hours, this case was referred to the Apopka Police Department from Detective Talley at the Ocoee Police Department. This incident involves a child making a disclosure about SM that occurred this morning. So obviously this is information about the school, be it the teacher that was spoken to or the name of the school itself, that's been redacted. At 2:19 hours, I went to the school and made contact with the 13-year-old victim. So once again, there's the confirmation that this is the 13-year-old child. The child agreed to speak with me about the incident from this morning. And it's so crazy, guys, because I still have people in the comments claiming that it wasn't his child. That it still doesn't state that it was his stepdaughter. I think by now we can get over that fact. It was, okay? We all know the family dynamics. So the child agreed to speak with me about the incident from this morning. I asked her what happened, and she disclosed that so-and-so had come into her bedroom this morning and touched her shoulders and breast area over her clothing. She stated he then picked her up and placed her, and I think the reason why that part is blacked out, I don't know if this was to protect, if anybody gets the document so that his name isn't called when something so embarrassing is being discussed or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, she stated he then picked her up and placed her on the floor of her bedroom at the foot of her bed. Now, I found that quite strange. Listen to the situation, right? So we're assuming that it's him that had come into the bedroom that morning and touched her shoulders and breast area over her clothing. So I'm assuming to wake her up. That's what he did. Very strange thing to do at the time. She stated he then picked her up and placed her on the floor of her bedroom at the foot of her bed. Now, this isn't a tiny child. This child, I mean, she's not tiny, even her build, she's already starting. You can clearly see that puberty is there. She's not a petite build, I don't believe. It's a bit odd imagining him lifting her and then placing her on the floor of her bedroom at the foot of her bed. I'm not saying this didn't happen, but I'm just trying to visualize the situation. You know, so strange that he would think that she would remain silent while he did this to a 13-year-old. You know what that suggests to me, don't you? The fact that she was not shouting, screaming, saying something in surprise, like, oh my gosh. Based on what she's saying, it sounds like something that she's used to if she hadn't made a noise. But anyway, let's carry on with what she's alleging. The child said he then pulled down her pants to her knees and then stopped and pulled them back up. She was wearing underwear at the time. So I'm assuming, and this is American language, pants in the UK, you know, means underwear, right? But I'm assuming this pants in American terminology is actually her pajama bottoms. I'm assuming. But she was wearing underwear, so that was not removed. He pulled it down and stopped and pulled them back up. So based on what she's saying, and if we're putting ourselves, you know, in her shoes and this actually did happen, is it that he saw he was about to do something and questioned himself, stopped himself? What was her body language like at the time? Did she resist or did she freeze? And I would imagine that something like that being so traumatic, it's not far-fetched to imagine that she would freeze. You know what I'm saying? Because like, what the hell? Yeah. The child stated that this happened twice before. Once approximately 6 months ago, and then last year around winter time. On those occasions, he only touched her over her breast area with his hands. So, in other words, he had not done the pulling down of the trousers on the other two occasions. It was just that inappropriate touch that took place. Now, if that's the case, you know, what happened in between? So say, for example, on the first occasion it happened, did this little girl say anything to anybody or did she just clam up? When it happened the second time, did she say anything to anybody in the household? Did she complain about it? Was it dismissed? Was a story given? Like, for example, did she go to her mother and say, Mom, this happened? And she, you know, was the man then confronted? There's so many questions that come up from this story. The child appeared to be forthcoming, but did not want name again to get into trouble because she did not want name again to think he is a bad person. She ultimately wanted an adult to speak to him and tell him not to do this anymore. Okay? So it seems to me that let's paint a scenario that she possibly did go to the mother. She probably didn't feel like the mother was capable of stopping it. That's if she did. If she didn't, she probably felt more safe and secure to go to the teacher, who probably she would know would have certain access to help, outside help, that would not involve her family. So, you know, there are two ways that you can look at it, really. Okay. So let's go to the second page of the reports. It should be noted that, and there is a redacted name, was sleeping on the bed beside her. It could be a redacted name. It could also be a description of, you know, which sister it was. The child was wearing a spaghetti strap tank top and long pajama pants. Now imagine that. He's come in, he's touched her on her shoulder, allegedly. touched her area, her private area on the chest. And then he's lifted her out of the bed and put her on the floor at the foot of the bed. All of this while another child was present in the bed beside her. So was that other child sleeping? That's the question I have to ask. Was that child aware of what was happening between the father and this child? Did this child see this happen? Is this child a witness? So those are the kind of questions that I am pondering. The child was wearing a spaghetti strap tank top and long pajama pants. It should be noted that there are a total of 4 female children in the household, with the victim being the oldest. There is a baby monitor camera in the bedroom, but it only shows live video. Hang on a minute. Let me just check something. $662 of you on the live while I'm going through this, which is a very painful situation. And I think the least that you guys can do is actually like up the live. Every time without fail, you guys do this to me. And it's so frustrating because content creators do not like having to stop to remind you to like up the live. 662, the least you can do is hit the like button as we go through this. I mean, it is a traumatic incident, but at the end of the day, it's about also raising the visibility of the channel and making sure that others get access to the information that is here. I would greatly appreciate it if you showed some respect to the channel and actually liked up the video before I continue, right? No disrespect, but I'm not about to carry on with just 100. That's a bit cheeky. Yeah, that's really not on at all. In the meantime, while people are remembering to use their fingers for free, let me see if I can pick up on some of the comments here. Madman, head gone. Wondering if the other 2 times before, if she mentioned it to her mom, didn't tell her mother, could be the mother is strict and she was afraid to tell her. Disgusting. That was baby sister sleep next to her. Maybe because of the other situation and the mother sticked with him, made the daughter thinks the mother would not believe her. Big up yourself, Althea. Go out and like up the live. Thank you. Maybe because the other person was on the bed and he didn't want to arouse suspicion. That's a good perspective. So yes, persons are touching the heart button and not the like button. Guys, the little heart at the bottom of the screen is not a like button. That's just like an emoji. You need to actually close the chat and press the thumb underneath the actual video. I believe that the room was that of the youngest child, hence the baby monitor camera being present. We'll get there, energy, possibly. So let's have a look. All right. Okay, I'm very happy with that. Thank you very much. Much better. All right. Let's continue with the share. Okay. All right. So, there is a baby monitor camera in the bedroom, but this monitor only shows live video. It does not save the recordings. Now, that's really important to note, that there is a baby monitor camera, but it only streams the live video, but it has no SIM card, not SIM card, a SIM card, call it? What call it? SD card. It has no SD card in it, so it's not recording anything. It's accessible via an application on the phone, and she believes that, we're presuming this is the man, also has access as well. This information was provided by, we can assume that was Chrissy. So someone agreed to the forensic interview, and I transported the child to the center. So in other words, they took the child to be examined to make sure that the child was not physically interfered with, as in a battery scenario. Okay? So that had to happen. A forensic interview was completed with the child protection team at the Howard Phillips Center for Children. I attempted to make contact with the suspect at his residence around 2100 hours at his residence with negative contact. So this is 9 o'clock at night. So let's go back. If you remember, he first turned up at the school at 2:19, right? All of this discussion was taking place. The child was then taken, right? The child was then taken to the center. So from what I'm seeing here, all of this was happening at the school, not at the house, I don't think. So let me just keep looking. There's no evidence here to say that he went to any other destination. It said at 2:19 hours, I went to the school and made contact, right? And the person agreed to speak. And then it should be noted that there's a baby monitor. So, yeah, it seems he was at the school all that time before he transported the child to the center. So quite a few hours had passed between then and when the police turned up at the residence, which is 9 o'clock in the night. And yes, all of this is happening on the 1st of November. Hence the reason why the report on the website that I showed you guys first had the incident number on the 1st of November. So that's when it was recorded, right? So it says here that they went to his residence with negative contacts. So in between that, a lot of things can happen. Communication can take place between mother and husband. Information can be passed on, stories can be lined up. There's so much that can happen between the time that the child was at the Phillips Center for Children and the time they tried to make contact at the residence. DCF placed the children under a safety plan where they remained with a family friend and would not be allowed to return to the home until a later time. So the children were taken away. All the children were taken away, but they were put at a safe place, not with a random stranger, but with a family friend, barred from returning to home. And then that's until later. At 08:20 hours on the 11th of February, the 2nd of November, sorry, I'm reading in British dates, 2nd of November, I, along with Officer Calixto and Officer Kashita, made contact with the suspect at his residence. So they turned up there bright and early. Yeah. I presented the information about the allegations to him. He indicated that there are cameras in the bedroom and it would show he never went to the room. Now, this is strange because they received information before to say that the cameras do not hold any information. Listen to this. And yet on this occasion, he is of the impression there are cameras with recordings. Is that separate and apart from the baby monitor camera? That's the question I'm asking. Yeah. Is it that there are household cameras in the bedroom, separate, as in security cameras, separate and apart from the live streamed camera, which is the baby monitor camera? That's a question. Because he never said that there is a baby monitor. He said there are cameras, as in more than one. So I don't know, could have been a slip of the tongue, or maybe he was being specific that there are more than one. And it would show he never went to the room. Now, he seems to be under the impression that the cameras have got memory and they are storing recordings. Yet, the mother, we're assuming, is stating that the cameras don't hold any recordings. So which is it? Maybe he was unaware of the fact that it doesn't, but if he has access via an app on his phone, Surely he should be able to tell that nothing is being stored. So as I said, a lot of time had passed, and it is not impossible that stories had to get lined up or conversations were had. And, I don't know. It's very confusing. But anyway, let's keep going. The explanation he provided was, yeah, of course, Rasta. They can be. Or maybe the camera's placed in front of the bedroom door instead of inside. Maybe. Well, he's blatantly said they're in the bedroom, not on the outside. So, let's see, right? Stay on the line of discussion, Antoinette. We've gone past that, but we're going to go back to it. So hold your point for now, right? I presented the information, so let's go. So he said that the explanation he provided was that yesterday morning he went into the room to wake up the victim, and she was on the floor playing with herself. Now that part, now I don't know if the officers understood that terminology, but we know what that means. We know what that suggests. And, in Jamaican discourse, the way we speak, when you play with yourself, you know that has to do with master, you know what, right? I don't want to say out the word. So he was basically saying he went to wake her up and she was on the floor doing this. Now she's on the floor doing this while her sister's on the bed, or her, one of her sisters or two of her, however, is on the bed asleep. And she's doing this before going to school. She's doing this at a time when she knows that she's going to get woken up to go to school. Strange, bizarre behavior. Anyway, the suspect stated that when he saw that, he yelled at her to get back into bed. Oh, so why was she going back to bed? He said he then went to get the other kids ready for school. So she had to go back to bed as the older child while the younger ones were gotten to go and get ready for school. Was this not a school day that this took place? On the 2nd of November. Playing with herself is not an invitation for rusty, crusty dog shit. He must have been peeping to see that. Yes. Yeah, it's weird. And then if it's a 13-year-old playing with herself, let's say it's another interpretation of playing with herself. Was she on the floor, I don't know, playing with toys by herself in the dark room? Because the light wouldn't be on, I would imagine. That's weird. What does he mean? I'm sorry, but it doesn't, a 13-year-old sat on the floor playing with herself is not, to me, indicative of playing with toys or playing on her phone or playing on an iPad, right? It's a Friday. Exactly. It's a Friday. It was this part here is on the 1st of November, Leggy. So I'm not certain that the 2nd was a Saturday. Okay, so this situation is the 11th, is the 2nd. So this situation is a Saturday. Him story very shaky. So hold on. Is which school them a go up on a Saturday? Maybe they have, I don't know, Saturday school. I don't know. It's not making sense. Or is he referring to what happened on the 1st? I think that's what he's doing. He's referring to what took place on the Friday. This is happening, this interview is happening on the Saturday, but he's referring to what happened on the Friday. And if that's the case, all of them are supposed to be going to school, no? Yeah, because at the end of the day, that's where she went and she told the teacher. So everybody would be getting up and getting ready to go to school. So why did he yell at her and tell her to get back into bed? and then went to get the other kids ready for school. Why should she be lying down while he's dealing with the other kids? That part is weird. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, he indicated this was not the first time this had happened. So in other words, he's saying that he has on occasion entered the room and she was on the floor playing with herself. Yes, that's what he's saying. So if you as a man, listen to what me I say now, people. You as a man know, say you have a daughter who is developing. I'm going with this story here, people, as though it's true. You as a man know that you have a daughter that is going through these bodily changes because master being is not it's not an alien thing. It's not weird. It's natural. It's normal. Experimenting with one's own body is a part of growth and development. You understand? However, a preoccupation with it at an early age can be indicative of other things happening. Yeah? Okay. So what I'm saying is that if you know you have a daughter that has the propensity to do something like this, you've walked in more than once to do this, and you've seen this. At this point, shouldn't a red flag be raised to the mother? And should it not be the case of, listen, I don't want to go in the room because I've caught her doing this once or twice, and really it's not appropriate. That's what I'm just trying to figure out, because as a man, I wouldn't want to see that again. That would traumatize the hell out of a man. That's a father. To walk in on his daughter doing something like that would be hugely embarrassing for both parties. So at which point it should be the case of, something, it's not just happened once, it's happened more than once. I need to make sure that the mother is in on this waking up process, because this is where I've walked in and seen it. I don't know. Why? It's weird. Wait. Keep reading, guys, because we're gonna just go through this. As sordid as it is, let's go through it. He advised he is a so-and-so based on his social media account. So that's him telling them about his role on social media. He believes the victim is a good kid and is smart and does not cause issues. He later indicated that she was a liar. So which is it? First, she's a good kid, she's smart, and she doesn't cause issues. And then later you indicate that she's a liar. And has stated in the past to a family friend that he has concerns that she would make lies against him. So he's basically saying that he expressed to a friend, and no doubt this friend is going to be asked to corroborate his story. And no doubt this friend is his good friend that's going to say, yeah, man, she did do that, right? She lied, or him was worried about the lying. No doubt this friend may have been contacted within those many hours between the child being taken to the protective service to be checked out, this conversation, to get the ducks in a row. But anyway, let me carry on. He later indicated she was a liar and has stated in the past to a family friend that he has concerns that she would make lies against him. If you've got these concerns, did you not express this to your wife? And if you have these concerns, should you not make sure that you avoid any contact with this young lady as much as possible because you're scared about the fact that she may tell lies on you? You know what I'm saying? Making sure that anytime that you're around, somebody else is there, or that the child is fully awake along with the other children before you interact, if you're so scared. I mean, that's... Anyway, he used the example that she once told the police that she did not see so-and-so hit him, that's the mother, because we know this from the previous reports, but said she saw him hit her, and he was arrested for DV. So he's now basically blaming the child for his DV. But I'm sorry, you did box the woman 2 times. And you even admitted to that. So regardless of whether or not she saw the mom hit you, that's not the reason why you were arrested for DV. You were arrested for DV because you confessed to it, 1, and 2, because your wife called 911. So let's get that straight. her choosing not to see if it's the case that she lied is kind of irrelevant to the fact that you definitely hit your wife. Anyway, based off the investigation, Mr. Carter was placed under arrest. He was placed in my department, issued handcuffs, which were double locked and checked for proper fits. He was then transported to the Apocpa Police Department and then to Orange County BRC without incident. My department issued body-worn camera was on and active for this entire event. This case is to be cleared by arrest, okay? And that's just the administrative section. So there are so many questions that are coming to my mind because the mere fact that you've got a child that you are implying does certain things to herself on the floor, and it's more than one time you've caught her doing it, maybe not necessarily on the floor, should show you that something's going on. And who else was told about this? Because the mother must have been told about the fact that you had witnessed this. Must have, if this took place, you must have spoken to your wife about it. And what steps were taken from the wife to address the behavior of the child, to find out why it is that the child is doing this, to the point where she's so unaware of her environment that she's getting caught while doing it. And how is it that you're the one that's always catching her? Well, maybe the mother caught her too, I don't know. But how are you catching her more than one time and still being the one to put yourself in this position? I mean, is there no way you could have put distance between yourself and that little girl that you claim to say that you don't trust because she's a liar? There's so many things about the story that's very strange. But likewise, her story is also very strange. The fact that he would pick up a 13-year-old in the presence of her other siblings and put her on the floor in order to do the M to her is strange. That he would be so reckless and careless in assuming that the children will all be asleep, whoever else is in the room will all be asleep, and not actually see him in the act? Or is it that he didn't care if they woke up? Maybe that's the reason why he stopped. Maybe somebody stirred. How is it that at first she's saying that all he did was touch the chest area, but now he went as far as to go to the pants to pull that down? At that point, Ida was very scared and she froze. Oh my gosh, be quiet. Either she was very nervous and she froze, or she was I don't know, probably she froze, or probably she was like, she's not sure what he's going to do, or I don't know. But if this did not go to the school and say these things, would this have carried on? Would he have carried on walking in on her, playing with herself, and nothing come out of it? It is the best situation I have ever heard. And I don't understand. And I don't understand how it is that the mother was so unaware of these inappropriate exchanges if what he's claiming is true. And I would really like to know what's happening with regards to her own involvement in whether or not she knew about this. Now, we don't have evidence about whether or not she knew, because the daughter is clearly saying that she wanted to tell an adult that would do something about it because she wanted it to stop. And she did not want so-and-so to get into trouble. And I assume that could be the mother, because she did not want the mother to think he's a bad person. So if that read, the child appeared to be forthcoming, but did not want, say that's CMR to get into trouble, because she did not want Chrissy to think he is a bad person. Let's read it like that. She did not want CMR to get into trouble because she did not want Chrissy to think he's a bad person. Makes sense. as opposed to, but did not want Chrissy to get into trouble because she did not want CMR to think he's a bad person. So that doesn't make sense. It makes sense that it was about the fact that she did not want the dad to get into trouble because she did not want the mother to think he's a bad person. So in her mind, she's even trying to protect the man from the mother. Huh. That's what I'm getting from this, people. She's trying to protect the dad from the mother. Advertise on your own time, please, sir. Advertise on your own flipping time. Out of order. You see me, I come on your page and I advertise myself. Some of them really not understanding yourself, Some of them really don't understand yourself. I appreciate that you are doing the work, but you notice I don't come on your channel and advertise myself. Bright. Anyway, moderators, please pay attention, wrenchers. Rude. As I was saying, it is really strange to me that she's wanting to protect the father from her mother. Do you know, this implies to me that the relationship that she has with the mother is almost as though she is seeing the mother as the dominant character in the household. She's not seeing the mother as a weak fence, in other words. Yes, she's saying that he could get into trouble. How many times do we have to say do not write names in the comments? Don't. Let the names remain on the screen. Refer to the man as he, and refer to the woman as she, or mom and dad, whichever. Okay? But all I'm saying is that she's saying that as far as I can see, she's saying that the mother is the dominant person and that she's afraid that the dad would get into trouble because she doesn't want the mother to think that he is a bad person. Poor baby. So this camera that was on, it's strange to think that he would do something like this when both parents had access. Both parents had access to the camera operation on their phones. So at any point, the parents could log in and see what's going on in the bedroom. Where was Chrissy when all of this was taking place is my key question. Where was Chrissy when all of this was taking place is my key question. It's very strange. Right, let me take a look at some of the comments. Right, when I talk, remember me tell you. She was just trying to protect the family, home, income, yes. The diva, delete that. Mighty God, no man, I don't really not have delete that. And then me go pin it to rotted. Delete that, the diva. No names. Is what wrong with no finger, man? The children's rooms are upstairs, the parents' rooms downstairs. Okay, that doesn't change anything. The fact is that both parents have access. So to be so wanton and careless to actually do something when there's a camera stream is strange to me. Many victims still want to protect their abuser. They just want the abuse to stop. Yes, it's called trauma bonding. The victim always tries to protect, especially in these cases where he takes care of the family. I think she didn't want to tell her mom and break up the family. Maybe she heard her mom telling him if he does anything wrong again, he has to go. She saw him hit the mom, so maybe she didn't want them to fight, so she took the issue to school. Despite what she's going through, she's still trying to protect him. Good heart. When you have daughters, you have to have ears and eyes to protect your children around any male persons. Because of as a child, I monitor the mates, even the father, the males, even the father around my daughter. Okay. Remember, a lot of children going silent and afraid to speak. Yes, because we're all watching the mother don't show children any love. Why wasn't the camera on both parents' phones? If so, how didn't she notice what the child was doing as well? It's not protecting the father. She just didn't want him to go to jail or the family to break up. She's not trying to protect anyone. She's a vulnerable young girl, and we don't know what he said to her previously. Margaret, you have a very solid point there. We don't know what was said to her previously. And, you know, once again, that whole trauma of witnessing DV and thinking that, you know, her parents could end up in a physical altercation would probably make her want to go to a third party and avoid all of that. Not being aware of what the consequences were going to be. The fact that she wants it to stop, but she doesn't want the mom to see him as a bad person means it does imply she doesn't want to break up the family, but it also implies something else. It implies that she has obviously clearly either heard that the mother said that I'm going to leave you if you mess up, or she sees her mother as a dominant personality that will, you know, throw him to the curb, and she doesn't think he's bad, which is normal. Most children who are going through this are not going to say the parent's a horrible person. They still love the parents. So that's understandable. As we said, they bond with the source of their trauma. It's very normal. Because as you can imagine, that's a very confusing thing to happen. The person who's meant to love and protect you and care for you is the person that's causing you harm. So there's a lot of mixed emotions and conflicting feelings in that child. But I'm just going to say this. A lot of people are wondering who is lying, if anybody. Okay. Most people are on the side of the child. Most people are thinking she's not lying. We know about CMR out here in these social media streets. He's a dirty scoundrel. We've seen how he's behaved with these multiple women, how he's cheated on his wife. And those girls were barely legal. So at the end of the day, it is not far-fetched that he has got a nuance. He has got a tendency for young and naive girls. So why should we support somebody who has shown us that with his own sexual tendencies, he's a reckless individual? So, you know, it leans people in that way. But I'm going to present this scenario, guys, because it's not impossible. And it's so funny that we're going through this discussion because shortly before this whole CMR thing kicked off, graduates, and I mean my original graduates, do you remember we had this discussion that said that where I spoke to you about a girl who was brought over from Jamaica who lied and, you know, did the most manipulative things. And she was a highly precocious child because she had been exposed to SA in Jamaica. And the mother was not prepared for the kind of exposure she had, which played out in her behavior. So I'm saying that even if this child lied, guys, even if the child made it up, even if the child is, you know, trying to trap him, I'm going to tell you this. There's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. And the fact that the child is leaning towards that, like she never got to school and said, him hurt me, as in him lick me, which would also lead to him being, you know, having repercussions with the law. She could have gone to school and said, if she had to tell a lie, and this was a little girl who had no exposure to this kind of sordid affair, she could have gone to school and said, my dad beat me with a belt. Or she could have gone to school and say, my dad, you know, him starve me, him don't feed me, whatever. She could have come up with any other thing as a lying child. The fact that this child chose a lie that had to do with M and was giving such detail is strange. And it makes me more inclined to believe the child. Because regardless of what is she being exposed to that is inappropriate in the household and is coming directly from the dad? You understand? Chrissy Chris, yes, there was a history that was on record that he claims that the child lied. Because even in the defense, he was saying that she's lying on the statement of the domestic abuse that took place in 2021. I could show it to you if you're interested, because I've got it right here. But I'm saying that he's pulling all of this. He's pulling all of this forward, and saying that she lied then and she's lying now. So this brings me to why it is that he's using these stories. Now, let's say that he's obviously trying to defend himself because he can see prison, right? And he's trying to get out of this. There are certain things that he will say in order to line up with his story so he can protect himself from a long jail sentence or any jail at all. You understand? The lying thing, which is consistent with his previous statements when the DV allegations were made against him, is one such way to prepare a defense against lewd and lascivious allegations. Right. So I'm going to show you this interesting website that I came across. It's an attorney website, where they're talking about how they defend their clients. Let's take a look. How they defend their clients against lewd and lascivious Okay, Island Breeze, I will do that. The child always looking distant when they're together, and we watching saying she's so humble, not knowing this child is going through. She was introvert. So we are confusing the humility with introversion, because she was going into herself as opposed to being the sprightly, happy-go-lucky child. Was the mom brushing it off, and that's why she went to the teacher? Jenny, very good question. He claims, yet he's on multiple videos saying she's smart and intelligent. Thank you, Chrissy Chris. Yes, because he also said it in the statement that she's a very smart girl. But let me tell you something, though, Chrissy Chris. A smart child has more of a propensity to lie. I'm not gonna take that away, because as a teacher in the past, being in the classroom for over 15 years, I can tell you that most of the lies told came from the cleverest concoct scenarios in a more manipulative way than a child with a lower ability, because they think things through in a different way if they're very smart. So that in itself could also be buying into his defense. You see what I'm saying? Right? That in itself could be buying into his defense. Okay? All right. So let's go through that. Yeah, agree. You keep talking about this and I keep removing it. I have no interest in what's going on somebody else's platform. Let me just focus. Right. So how can I prepare a defense against a lewd or lascivious allegation? We always start our client's defense quickly with what we call a character portrait. What that is putting together your biography, as in who you are, what you do, and your general character. So they're going to put together a profile about who CMR actually is. We take that along with photographs of you with your family at work, in front of the Christmas tree, with your dog, cats, whatever makes you look like a person, to force the prosecuting attorney to see you as a good, law-abiding citizen, and not the monster you may be made out to be in the police reports. We always take the time to meet the prosecutor in your case as soon as possible, to present this information along with character reference letters on you, on sometimes, if appropriate, as to the poor character of the child or the people who may be influencing the child. You would be surprised at how few attorneys take the time to get to know their clients like this and make such appropriate and effective arguments to the prosecutor. So they're going to paint a picture of perfection in order to say that, listen, he's a good man, he's a great dad. And they literally live on social media. There's lots of evidence of what appears great, but I'm not being funny. I've seen CMR's history. His criminal record history is very decorated. Okay, it might be a lot of petty stuff, but he has got a couple of charges on there, and he has got a previous bail bond for petty theft. Okay, not to mention the DV. So at the end of the day, there's so much stuff on there, plus the scandal of him having had an affair on his wife, which is all over social media platforms. So you can imagine that, you can imagine that the prosecutor is going to pull up on all of these things. So I don't know how he's going to paint himself as a great citizen. Can I avoid a trial if I'm accused of lewd or lascivious M? Absolutely. So they're saying that it's possible not to go to trial, that they have got the knowledge and experience to defend, but that's them advertising themselves. They're saying that they review the case for holes in the investigation, motives to lie on the child's behalf, or anyone who has influence over the child. So Chrissy is going to be under the microscope by those defending CMR to see if, hang on a minute, does she have any influence over this child? Could she be encouraging? Could she be encouraging this little girl to tell a lie on you? They need to do a lie detector test. Detector tests are not admissible in court over here. I don't know about over there. You understand? She didn't want to be responsible for the fact she did want to or didn't want to, Brenda, be responsible for the family. The smart kids will lie. However, trust me when I say a good social worker can catch out those lies. Yes, a good social worker can. All right. So it says here they're going to try to build on that motive of the child, on the, the child's ability to lie, the motive of the child lying, and anybody who could influence the child to lie, right? And any other issues that may help us get the charges dismissed before you ever have to go to court. Sometimes with proper preparation and presentation, we may even be able to convince the prosecutors to amend the charges to something that is not a sex crime, does not require conviction, does not require prison, and does not require sex offender registration. Now, let me tell you something. This kind of caliber of service is only possible if you go for a private lawyer, mate. You go in for public defense, you ain't gonna get all this. Yeah, they ain't got time for that. You are one in a million, in a mountain of cases that they have to deal with. So all of this stuff, which takes dedication, work, time, and money, will not be done with a public defense attorney. So I don't know what go on this so. But unless CMR step up his game, he's gonna struggle to get all of this. Can a child lie and falsely allege I committed this crime? Yes, children like adults are capable of lying and making things up. More dangerously, however, is the fact that children can also confabulate, right? Children can also confabulate, right? And if you don't know what confabulate means, it means they embellish, right? They add on all sorts of extra information, and they make it look like it's a memory, something they remember what happened. You understand? Yeah? What is my best defense if I'm accused? An alibi is the perfect defense. In other words, that you were not there making the crime impossible. So he started with that by saying, I was not in the room. I never entered the room. Remember, I said that him saying no. And then him say, he went in the room and saw what he saw. So there's a lot of holes in this man's story. Hold on, let me stop the share and go back to that. Let me stop the share and go back to that. Because this is another lie when me this pick up. Let me go back to that. Share. All right, come here. Come here, you, Mr. CMR. Here it is. Where he's talking about cameras. We need to find that part. All right, let's go. Here it is. Down here. There we go. Where say right, so he indicated that there are cameras in the bedroom and it would show he never went to the hold on there. Come. Don't jump around. It would show that he never went to the room. Now that he say. That's what he said. He indicated there are cameras in the bedroom and it would show that he never went to the room. That's what it says. He never went to the room. And then he gave an explanation that he went into the room. Backside. Oh my God. A blatant lie. There are cameras in the bedroom and it would show he never went to the room. The explanation he provided was that yesterday morning he went into the room to wake up the victim. No, sir. What a liar. But that lie was literally staring us in the face, graduates. You know, see that? Blatantly staring us in the face. He indicated that there are cameras in the bedroom and it would show he never went to the room. The explanation he provided was that yesterday morning he went into the room. Jesus Christ. He's lying. He's lying. I stand with the child too, Leggy. He's lying. That contradiction in itself indicates that he's lying about something. That contradiction in itself indicates he's lying. And how is it that husband and wife are not on the same page? They don't know that there is no recorded evidence of the camera. I mean, he could argue that she's the one that knows or she's the one that put it together or whatever, but he has access to the app. So having had access to the app, you should be able to tell that there is no recording facility on the app. So when you're saying there are cameras in the bedroom, is there a second camera? Is it that he set up another camera and backdated the camera to make it look like he wasn't there? Did he use the opportunity of avoiding the police? How is it that CMR did not come home at all right up until 9 o'clock? Isn't he the one that normally does pickups and stuff like that, according to the letter that she wrote to the judge? So how is it that right up until 9 o'clock, who tipped you off, CMR, to let you know that you shouldn't come home? Who tipped you off to let you know that you should not come back to the property because you might get arrested? Who bought you extra time in order for you to come up with a story to tell the officers? Who gave you time so that you could reach out to that so-called friend in order to say that, hey, I am, tell them that I've always worried about her lying. Lying is the best defense. Who gave you time and bought you time, CMR? That you were absent from your household all that time, right up until 9. And even beyond that, because they came at 9, and no doubt they would have stayed there a while. And then you weren't at home at all. Who did that, CMR? Because somebody bought you time. Somebody bought you time. Because this don't sound like family man behavior. You understand? Yeah, it's weird. Especially if you find out that your child had made a report that the rest of your kids are under a safety plan. Guys, do they all go to the same school? Do they all go to the same school? Kim Rowe, don't put no name in the comments. Do they all go to the same school, guys? I would imagine not. She's 13, she'd be in secondary, right? So I would imagine that it's multiple pickups, don't it? Are they all in secondary? No, the younger ones would be in primary. You understand? So if that is the case, is more than one pickup going on. And if more than one pickup going on, I would imagine that multiple parents would be in picking up the kids.
Playing from Weird Master Comms.
Be quiet. More than one parent would be involved in picking up the kids. So where one parent would turn up and should be able to say, wait, hang on a minute, you can't get these kids because they're going into protection. It's strange to me that he was away from the household for such an extended period of time without a tip-off. He was tipped off. We can almost assume it. Here's another comment. Patricia is saying the floor area would not be picked up by the camera. You don't know that. I've got a camera in this room and it picks up everywhere. Floor and up at top. And my camera, it rotates. You understand? So we don't know what it picks up from what it doesn't. If I was the prosecution, 2 videos I would use to help the prosecution, Halloween and our birthday vlog. Okay. The camera can't prove anything. It's a live feed. Exactly, Anna Marie. That's what the wife is saying. The wife is saying that the camera does not hold memory. So none of the streams are being recorded. But then he comes out and says, there are cameras in the room. You can check them. So in his mind, they're recording, but she has already said that they're not, they're just live stream. Is somebody lying there? Because that's what it indicates, that there's a lie being told there. Either a lie or both parents are not singing from the same hymn sheet and don't know what's happening in their own house. And CMR strikes me like he was the techie one. Or am I wrong? He strikes me that he was the one that was very techie as an army guy. That he would be the one to set up the cameras and to set up the this and the that. So surely he should know whether or not a camera is recording. Did somebody erase something on those cameras to make it look like the streams were not being recorded? I'm just wondering. Because both stories are not lining up. Both stories are not lining up. You're saying that you came in multiple times. Let's go with CMR's story for a minute. You're saying you came in multiple times and you saw your daughter, your stepdaughter, playing with herself. How is it that you keep getting yourself into the situation where it's you who's walking in? Why is this happening repeatedly from this little girl? What is she being exposed to that's making her so preoccupied with these physical feelings? It's not the first. What are you trying to say? That why would a little girl at 13, knowing that full well she has to wake up and go to school, be so preoccupied with these physical feelings that she on the floor I play with herself? Knowing that you're going to come in, what are you trying to say about the child? Are you implying that she's telling a lie on you because she was embarrassed that she was caught? Why would the next step be, oh, I want to do this so much that I don't want to be caught, so let me get rid of him by telling a lie? I don't think so. Something isn't right, because like, why would that even feature is strange to me. Why? You know what I'm going to say? I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry. I believe the little girl. I believe the little girl, and I'm free to have an opinion just as my graduates are free to have an opinion. There are too many strange little holes in your story. And the little girl would have been interviewed and no doubt would have been repeating the same thing over and over again. And even as a child, her story seems to be more watertight than what you're presenting. And I can only imagine she must have froze when you lifted her up and put her on that floor, why she did not create a kerfuffle, why she didn't make noise. You understand? Which is a natural thing when things are escalating. It's bringing like an intense reaction because at first it was touching the chest and you were about to take it a step further. And probably the very fear of the fact that you were about to take it a step further prompted her to speak up about it because she realized that you were getting tempted to do even more things that were inappropriate. That's all I'm seeing happening here. And it's so interesting how all these people that were up and down the place coming on my comments, chatting crap and telling me, oh, you sound like a hater, you sound wicked. What have you got to say no? What exactly have you guys got to say no? Are you going to really and truly bash this little girl and say she's telling a lie upon the person going to put on pedestal? A man that don't even know one exists? Other than a number, a tick, a subscribe? Is that what you plan to do? Or are you going to allow the law to take its course so they can fully investigate these stories? Now, a defense attorney is not going to get CMR all that specialist stuff that I took from that private law firm's website. No. So even the mere fact that he has got the weakest standard of defense possible makes me raise an eyebrow if he doesn't manage to change lawyers. Right? And if his claims that financially he can't afford are true, then it's unlikely he's going to move from public defense. If he was lying to the court or he manages to get into some money, then maybe he may change lawyers and change tactics. But he's already started his tactic, and that is to paint the child as a liar. And also to publicly shame and humiliate the child, talking about the fact that she was on the floor playing with herself. I'm really not even see the point of even mentioning that. Exactly. Him. A 13-year-old supposed to have a certain amount of privacy. Even my child, who's 14, I knock. I don't just go in, I knock on his door. You understand? So you knock and then you go in. You wait until a little answer come. But if it's a case of she's in there with her other siblings, I mean, isn't this a 4-bedroom house or 5-bedroom house and 4 bathrooms? Why are these kids all sharing rooms anyway? Maybe they want to. I don't know. It's weird. You think that they all have their own little space and that at least she should because she's now a teenager, especially if she's, as he claims, playing with herself. She clearly needs her own space. You don't want that to be seen by the younger children. So why weren't they safeguarded from such developments? If you can see that she can do something like that, and it's not the first time you've seen her do it, it means she needs her own room, plus some counseling on how to handle her feelings, her physical changes. And if this is happening repeatedly, what did you guys do as parents to find out why there's a preoccupation with it? There's a lot of things going on here. And I know one of the things that Child Protection Services is going to do is to find out what it is that Chrissy, the mother, was doing to safeguard her kids. And that is the normal when it comes to child protection getting involved with situations like this. So what happens when a child is reported to CFSA? If CFSA receives a report that the child was abused, then a social worker is going to be assigned to that child and to the household, especially if other children are present. Okay? The social worker's job is to find out whether the report of abuse or neglect, whatever it might be, is true or false, or even more investigations. And And the children outside of the victim will be interviewed along with the others living in the household. You understand? So all those other kids are going to be going through a process. Chrissy's going to be going through a process. And when it comes to what can happen, in extreme cases, the children can be taken away. It's not a must that it happens that way, though, people. They have to do their due diligence and they have to do their investigations. The CFSA does. You understand? The goal always is to keep families together. But where necessary, they will remove children to safe places, which is what they did in the immediate sense. I don't know, and neither do you, whether or not the children have returned. We don't know if the children have returned to Chrissy's household. They could still very much be away. It says here that they tried to keep brothers and sisters together in the most family-like setting that will meet their needs. And this could be one of the relatives or in a foster home. In this case, a close family friend will also do if they are of good caliber. They have 72 hours once removing children from home to ask the DC Family Court to agree or disagree with removing the children. So they're going to have to make a decision about whether or not this needs to happen, and the decision can be made in 72 hours. That's if they interview and they get an impression that, listen, it needs to happen. Ah, boy. So normally within 30 days, the social worker will use the information collected during the investigation to decide. In many cases, they may be able to make changes to keep the child at home or the children at home. A case plan will be developed. A list of changes that need to be carried out will be given to the parents to make sure that these changes are made for the good of the children. And they have to sign the plan, abide by it, and they will get regular visits to make sure the plan is being adhered to and followed up on. They'd have to go through things like counseling, parent education and support. Educational evaluations will take place for the kids through the school to make sure that their behaviors are not acting out and that they're given the support they need that way. There's a lot that Chrissy is going to be facing right now, including, in a way, being investigated herself, not necessarily by the police, but certainly by child protection and the social worker that's representing them. So there's so much that needs to be done because the other children were clearly in the vicinity when this situation was taking place, be it the playing with herself or the M that took place on the 13-year-old. Other children were being exposed to inappropriate behavior of a lewd manner. There's so much terrible things happening within that household, and it's such a shame that it had to get to this. And even a 13-year-old who is capable of concocting such a story and making such a lie on this man has to have a reason. You hear what I'm saying to you? And that will need to be investigated too, if that is the case. But in the meantime, I stand with the stepdaughter. And I really and truly hope that Chrissy and CMR reevaluate themselves. I do not believe that CMR, if found guilty, is even capable of changing his ways, to be honest. Because look at how much public humiliation he went through before. And to go through something like this shows that changing where he's concerned is not possible. He is sick. That's why I say me can't stand by nobody that have these kind of offenses, you know. I can't support or respect or be around anybody, especially when it comes to being involved with minors. It turns my stomach to imagine how people can befriend people who are actually registered sex offenders. I don't get it. You understand? Worse when it involves children. I don't get it at all. That's far-fetched from me. Anyway, guys, I think we've gone through this enough. It's a heavy case, right? We ask for, as many prayers as possible for those kids, and that the safest situation is the outcome for them, right? And that whoever is found guilty is dealt with harshly by the law and an example made of them, that they get the maximum. Because really and truly, when it comes to things like this, me nah have no mercy. No mercy at all. Anyway, big up yourself. Thank you so much for the super chat. I didn't even notice that. I was so caught up in this whole thing. I'm praying so hard for those children. To be rooted from the comfort of your own home so suddenly can be so detrimental to the child's mental state. I don't know how these children will cope. Exactly. It is so sad. Everything that they thought was, wholesome and dear and true is falling apart before their eyes. It's going to leave some scars, some of which will be permanent. You understand? Jaja. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. For those of you who are new to my channel, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. Obviously, as things evolve, if anything significant pops up, we will continue to track this case, right? Press up the bell twice until you see those wiggly lines so you get your alert, okay? It's not good enough to just hit the bell once. You have to hit it twice, right? Make sure that you like up the live, share the live, and once again, thank you for coming to A Touch of Class with HTK. I hope this discussion has provoked some thoughts and has given you some reason to reflect and also to be cautious about necessarily jumping to conclusions. We are going to wait for the law to take its course, but unfortunately, we are all entitled to our opinions. We all are entitled to our opinions, and that is also valid, be it fact or not, right? You have a right to actually support or not support. You have a right to believe or not to believe. Freedom of thought, freedom of expression is guaranteed in the public space and the public court of opinion. And nobody can stop that from happening because these are public figures who basically put their lives on display for the public to pick apart. All right. Respect, and I'm out. Bye-bye.